So my name is Jack Wyse. I'm currently a development officer at Sheffield Students' Union as part of the sabbatical officer team. I'm going on to to be a Waitrose technology graduate as part of the John Lewis Partnership graduate scheme, and I'll be there for 3 years. So I think interpersonal skills are probably the most important skill set that you can show that you have to an employer, and probably the one that you will have built most whilst you've been at university. It's basically being able to have a conversation with someone that you haven't met before and have a professional conversation. The way that you can demonstrate that is by showing leadership skills that you've developed through being parts of sports teams or societies or stuff outside the Students' Union as well throughout your time at university. I really believe that most of what the employer is looking for, regardless of the skills, other skill sets, is interpersonal skills. You know, if you get to the interview stage, the person on the other side of the interview table really just wants to know, on top of a few other things, am I going to be able to work with this person? Can I have a conversation with this person, and can I have a laugh and a bit of a joke? And do they smile? It's as simple as that. It's good to be able to demonstrate it through giving evidence of leadership positions, but it's also something that really comes across in video interviews, telephone interviews, and in person. And the route to that is the way that you can demonstrate that, especially in person. Firstly, smile as much as possible, because that looks really good. You can't smile too much in an interview. Just try and be yourself. As soon as you're trying to be something that you're not, or trying to kind of consciously demonstrate a certain personality, the employer will basically see right through it. And so just try and be yourself, try and relax. It's really difficult to do. First skill that I kind of have gained over the last year is a general interest in IT, but also skills with software development in IT. And I've done that mainly through my current job, and the students and the department and I have worked together to build software packages based on the students' design that are constantly adapted to student feedback that we get. So within my current job, I've been quite lucky because I've been able to tailor it to almost what I'm going to be doing at Waitrose over the next 3 years. And I started to do that when I started to realise that I wanted to work for this Waitrose scheme. However, separately from that, and I'm aware that not all students that are applying to a graduate scheme would have a job where they'd be able to do that, or might not have a job at the moment. Getting involved in student societies that are relevant is a really good way of showing employers that you are interested in gaining the skills and you develop them yourself. And a good way of doing that is getting into a leadership position for those societies. If you're applying for a technology graduate scheme or a technology position within a company, obviously you need to be kind of computer literate. You need to use basic software programs, Microsoft Office, Google Docs, email. These are all obvious things that you need to apply for, whether you're interested in a technology scheme or not. You can learn stuff like coding even if you don't do a computer science course. There's loads of free resources on the web to kind of teach yourself how to code. I think the important thing to note, however, with all of this is whatever skills that you are building and trying to show to an employer, they need to be skills that you care about, and they need to be skills that you haven't just done to put on your CV, because an employer will automatically see through that. So don't just join a society or be on a committee to put it on your CV. It needs to also match what you're interested in. Yes, so I'd worked for John Lewis part-time before I came to university, and full-time in my gap year. This helped firstly because I think all employers like it if they can see that you've either got direct experience or you have worked for them before, especially large companies and especially large retail companies. But more importantly, it showed me what the culture of the organisation was, and I'd learned how to fit in with everyone there, and that was kind of a real head start for me. And I think that was how I got to the interview stage, just because they saw that I could demonstrate those values, demonstrate an understanding of the culture. I wouldn't say be put off by an organisation if you haven't worked with them before. Just do as much reading into the organisation as you can, and if you can speak to someone that has worked there or is currently working for them, which shouldn't be too difficult to do, speak to them about what it is that makes that organisation different to their competitors or the rest of the sector. Support from the Career Service has been absolutely great from when I used it in my first year through to my second and my third year, and my needs have changed throughout that time, and the support that the Career Service has offered has also changed throughout that time. So in my first year I was just looking for a job, and they were able to help with that through the job shop. In my second year I wanted to write my CV, and I was able to get some real quick feedback on what I had previously written, which wasn't amazing, and helped me kind of write it on my own terms as well. I think that's the other good thing about the Career Service, is it's not telling you what to do, it's telling you the routes to being successful, and that's not the same for everyone. That's different for each individual. So they don't necessarily give you the kind of answers, they help you find those answers out for yourself. And in my third year, I kind of had built up an understanding as to exactly what it was that I wanted to go into, and at that point I was able to get some real kind of specific tailored advice from the Career Service about which employers I should maybe apply to, and the routes to those employers as well, so the tests that are used. And also, don't leave it to your last week of university to use the Career Service. They're here for the whole time that you're here, whether it's for kind of like a small job or a long-term career. They can give you like loads of advice, but don't leave it kind of too late. They obviously let you use their kind of advice after you've graduated, but it's a shame not to use it whilst you're here at university. Constantly referring to their strategy and their vision and their general outlook on the world. It took me about 4 months and 6 online stages before I began to be assessed by a real person. Up to that point it was just by computers. The first point that isn't multiple choice, the first point where you're allowed to type freely, or you are doing a video interview, or preferably before the interview stage itself, talk about how your own personal values are aligned with the values of the organisation, and you can find a lot of that information through the kind of corporate strategy of the company that it is you're applying to. The reason that that is important, regardless of the organisation that you're applying for, is because if you can show that what you care about and the way that you see the world is the same that the organisation does, the organisation will see you as a kind of a good person to hire, but one that will get on with everyone else that they employ. And I think that's kind of half of what they're looking for, really, is this person going to get on with me and the rest of the people that are in this organisation? And that is completely based on people's values, and there's not right or wrong values, but there's different organisations and different sectors are based on different understandings of the world. So as soon as I had an opportunity to discuss why I wanted to work for John Lewis, I didn't use general points that I'd use for any other organisation. I'd specifically highlight values that I had shown in the workplace and made sure that they were the ones that John Lewis were looking for. I convinced John Lewis that I was interested in their specific technology graduate scheme by doing a load of kind of wider reading, not just on the John Lewis website, but also on a range of news articles that were speaking about John Lewis and what they were doing, technologically speaking, at the time. I think employers almost expect you to look at their website and the specific section of the website that is relevant to the scheme that you're applying to. I think you need to go one step beyond that and look at really kind of the wider media, but also kind of niche media outlets. So one that I used was Tech Radar and lots of technology blogs, because they give you a real specific insight into well, they gave me a specific insight into John Lewis and the technology kind of section of John Lewis. So it's good to go on kind of major news websites and read newspapers, but that's only going to give you kind of a brief outlook, you really need to search for blogs that have real in-depth information. Through that, I was able to talk about case studies and examples that the assessors themselves had been working on recently, which gave me a real connection with the people that were speaking to me. But it also showed that I hadn't just applied to 60 graduate schemes and hadn't done kind of research on them. I'd specifically found out about that employer and what it was that they were currently doing. I think as well as that, you need to give a general kind of, you need to show that you're generally interested in what it is that you're going into. So on top of that, I talked about outside of retail technologies, how I was just generally interested in technology. Talk about something that's currently in the news or in current affairs, or a way that the sector is going that is kind of quite new, quite novel, quite innovative, just to show that you're on board, and just to show that they're going to be employing someone that knows exactly where kind of progress is going and in which direction it's going.